All right, so before we get started, this is exactly what we're kind of looking at. We want something with this where it has a depth value. So this is our end goal. What we're going to be doing is first importing the JPEG in here, and then we need to design this. Okay, so I wanted to show you the end goal at a time so you know where the direction is headed. All right, to get started, we're going to just hit this button. That will make a new design. Okay. And then we're going to go to catalogs and we're going to go browsing the desktop for my design where I left it. You should probably not have it on a flash drive. You should probably run it on the desktop. It'll be a lot easier. There it is, Kanji lesson. I'm going to click and drag it out. And then I'll close this window. There we go. So first thing we're going to do is vectorize these shapes. It doesn't matter how low res they look. I'm going to go convert to vector. This is under the image tab. I'm going to hit filter. All right, now we're just kind of doing a little thing where we're playing around with the minimum and sharpness. Vector. So let's hit return. Now these are vector shapes. They appear over here. Okay. And what we're going to do first is go and highlight all of them by just clicking and dragging, net select them, and go into Autocomplete under Vector. Vector, Autocomplete. Okay. That will allow us to now go into the embroidery mode and choose these different options. In this example, we're going to look at only turning area. So we're going to go turning area zigzag. If this box pops up, you're good to go. If it does not, you have to repeat the steps I just went through until it does pop up. So we're going to click on an element and hit return on the keyboard. We're going to repeat that. All right. So now that that's done, we can close this window out. And then we go into the select objects. And this is where we kind of play around with these things that it got made right here, the little nodes. So because the vector was kind of broken up here, we can move those out and make it much smoother. Like this little tip right here, we can probably get rid of that. Makes it nicer. So each one of these just needs to be cleaned up just a little bit because our vector wasn't all nice, fluent. I like moving around using this and this in this program. Zooming in, I use the mouse. Good. Maybe just a little bit on this one. I don't like how this one a little rounder. And there we go. And I would say this is probably not going to be as dark, so round this up a little bit. All right, we have all our elements now. So in the next step, what we need to do is bring these elements, and we can move these around like that. And when we hit return, they go back to rendering. Okay. So we would need a picture of our original canvas in order to put these back together. Kind of memorized it, so if I screw it up, I have to look somewhere, but I feel like it was taller than that, so I'm going to move this one up a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. One was here. One was here. So let's say I need to move a lot of these. Like, can I hold control and click in many of them? No, but you can over here. So it's kind of odd, but if you want to hold control and click on these, you can, and you can move many of them at once. But it's very hard to understand which one these are. If you double click on things, it'll go into this section pack. So make sure that you only click single on it. Yeah. There we go. Now, to make it a little easier to understand, we can get rid of our vectors. If you hold shift, you can now highlight all these and delete them. Okay. We can also turn on 3D right here. So it'll show which elements are on top and is this in alignment with each other. So all these elements need to be moved over. So to make it a little faster, I'm going to go over to here where I've arranged all of them. Okay. This is how you arrange things. So we got this element. Okay. I want this on top of everything. These go in a certain order. So this will go before this one. This will go this one. If you want this element on the top of everything, you would just make sure that you move it to the bottom. If you want it on the bottom of things, you move it to the top. So for example, I'll move it. And now it's in back of the other element. Okay? If I want it to be forward, click anywhere and it auto renders. That's how you arrange these different axes. So now we need to change the puffiness of these. We want max puffy. In order to do that, you highlight all your red elements. This is the object manager. And down below, we have our option. We want this option, underlay, checked. We want it to be the double zigzag. And we want the density to be 1. And if you want to play around with 1.25, that's fine. Just know that as this goes up, the puffier it gets. Other things that need to be in here is it actually, yeah. Under Yeah, the rest is good. And that, oh, 5.65. But this shouldn't change, but in case it did, the density under the body color needs to be 5.65. And why that number is because if you calculate the thickness of the needle, this is the max we can handle with the needle that we have. If it's any higher, it will start cutting into the fabric instead of stitching. So arrange those, change those elements, and let's go on to the next step in the design. All right, so for the next step, we need to make sure that this is 5 inches. Okay. Again, this one right here, I'm just going to delete these vectors out so I can show you. If I highlight all these, I can click on this, and you can see that there is a measurement on the left hand right here. It'll appear. As I click or drag it, you'll see that measurement. I need that to be 4.5 because I'm using a 5-inch embroidery loop. Okay, 4.5. And if you click anywhere, it'll auto render again. Now that I did that, I highlighted it all again. Go to embroidery, and I'll need to do the following. So we go to start and end. We go start point at first section, and then end point. We want end point at last section, always. And then lastly, we hit center design. So let's look at the measurements here. We got 2 inches from the center. Here's my 0 mark. We got 2 inches, and over here we got 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. So we know that this is going to be 4.5. Another way we could do that again is highlight it and just kind of like click on it, and it'll tell us the measurements in the corner. Anytime we move it, we're going to have to redo the exact procedure, except for we do not need to do the start point. We just need to hit center design. So if I move this over here, I just hit center design. If in doubt, center design. Doesn't hurt anything. All right, now we export this design. And I'll export it into a folder on the desktop. And save. All right, so that's it. That's how you export it out of Stitch Era. And we can go to the embroidery stage now. I don't know if I'm going to cover that on this video. I've already done a video about how to load and how to do everything on the embroidery machine. So please follow that video. If this does conclude into another video about that, good. But for right now, this video is all about getting it in, making all the stitches, and then exporting it.